Hey there, and welcome back to Up Next. In today's video, we're going to be looking at 5 of the weakest Marvel characters. Everyone can agree, I'm sure, that although the Marvel movies are some of the best, as well as the comics and everything else that comes from the franchise, there are some pretty underpowered and weak characters. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the weakest. Of course, keep in mind that this list is based on opinion. You can totally think that somebody on this list is amazing, so be sure to let us know in the comments what is your list of the 5 weakest Marvel characters. Number 1. First of all, we're going to talk about Loki. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this character. But you have to admit, in the comics, he was a lot more powerful than he was in the movies. In the comics, Loki was an incredibly powerful character that people feared. And he was able to lift so much weight at one time, and he was able to endure almost any attack and not be harmed. His magical abilities were close to that of the level of Doctor Strange, and that's pretty great. If you take a look at the MCU version of Loki, although he was a great character, he was seriously nerfed. We never really got to see his powers of physical strength or magic to win battles, and it sucked. Instead, he would use trickery and schemes, and it just wasn't what people wanted to see. Number 2. Next we have Korg the Kronan, the terrifying yet charming rock monster. The reason I say terrifying isn't that he's tough, it's because of the way he looks. His personality is not really scary at all. Considering the fact that he's a giant rock monster, you would think that he would be stronger than he is, but he's actually incredibly weak. He looks powerful, but he's really not much stronger than the average human being. Although rocks may be extremely hard, they can crumble easily, and we see that in the movies. He just really was a weak character. Although he is very loved and he has a very charming, lovable personality, he isn't a great character when it comes to strength. Number 3. Next up, we have another character that was better in the comics than they were in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're speaking about Star-Lord. He was incredibly weak in the movies, even though he was half celestial. Unlike the comics, the version of Peter Quill in the MCU is the son of a Celestial, which gives him the same limitless abilities as one of the gods. Despite all of this though, his powers were never really shown to us, and it makes him look very weak, all things considered. In the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, the first time we see Star-Lord use his powers was when he tried to hold an Infinity Stone. And in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, he uses his powers only once before he lost them. So even when he did use his powers, it didn't come anywhere close to the powers of the Celestials in the comics, which just truly made Star-Lord a weak character. Number 4. The Nova Corps showed up in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they were a little underpowered. In the comics, the Nova Corps were Marvel's equivalent of the Green Lanterns. They're so powerful in strength and durability, and they have amazing energy production, which makes them some of the finest armies in the entire Marvel comics. However, like I previously said, when they showed up in Guardians of the Galaxy, they were really weak. They didn't have any great energy powers, and instead, they were just normal humans that were a little bit stronger. Take the fact that during the final battle of Guardians of the Galaxy, almost all the Nova Corps were wiped out completely. This technically means that the Guardians of the Galaxy had the largest amount of deaths on their shoulders, giving them the largest body count in any of the movies. This definitely solidifies the fact that the Nova Corps deserve this spot on the list of the weakest Marvel characters. Number 5. And last but not least, we have the Elder Race. In the comics, this race was considered as legendary characters, and they were incredibly powerful. People were definitely terrified of them. There's a reason why they managed to survive for millions of years. But in the movies, this version of the characters fails to show their true powers. Rather than making the Elders powerful, both the Collector and the Grandmaster just talk. We don't really see any of their powers, and it sucks. In Thor Ragnarok, the Grandmaster is easily overpowered by a small group of scavengers. In Infinity War, the Collector was presumably tossed around like a weak little human being by Thanos, without even putting up any kind of fight. So yeah, the Elders and the MCU are just bad. That's all for today though. What'd you think of this list? Like I said at the start of the video, let us know what your top 5 list of the weakest Marvel characters would be in the comments below. With that being said, this is the end of the video, so we will see you in the next one.